When you look at conditions all around the world, we need to thank God for this country. And let us keep it where we are at now and keep on improving on it. We have a peaceful environment compared to others all around the world. I heard what was happening in the Gaza Strip. A whole lot of people being slaughtered. And other places on the planet where there's this constant slaughteration of human beings by those who are in charge in those areas. Let's pray and hope we don't have that here in the Bahamas, because we're in position to do something about it. Of course, my special guest today should be Brother Cartwright. I guess he should be in shortly. But Bahamians, we have to continue to move forward. Remember now, those who have been sending me emails and so forth, please put your phone numbers on every email you send me. The State of the Nation, 242@gmail.com. And you want to tell me what you would like to do in support of what I'm doing, because there are a number of things that must be done now, because we cannot wait any longer. If we keep waiting and doing nothing, we can end up losing what we have today. We cannot afford that. This is 52 years after independence, and some of you are still not sure whether you're an independent nation. Let me assure you that we are a sovereign, independent state. We are under God. That's how we were founded. Yesterday, I wanted to have you discuss about the prime ministers of the nation. We've had 5 of them from the very beginning. I got feedback on some other things, but not in relation to the prime ministers. If you're not prepared to talk about that, that's fine. I could live with that. But those 5 personalities made some contributions over that 52-year span. You're looking at 10 years, 4 months, and 14 days, or thereabouts. No, 24 days, I think. When you average out between the 5 of them, of course, the bulk of that was carried by Sir Lyndon Pinling, the Honorable Hubert Ingram, and also the Honorable Perry Christie. The bulk of that was carried by those 3, the 52 years. Mr. Ingram had 3 terms, Mr. Christie had 2 terms, Mr. Pinling had 5.5 terms, almost 6 terms. But be that as it may, that's how it went over that period of time. Now, what are we to do now after 52 years? A lot of people are discussing that. You need to analyze where we have been, what we have done, what we are doing now, what we intend to do for the future. Of course, you have a number of persons who will be running for office, and that's fine, that's constitutional. Nothing necessarily wrong with that. But now is who you choose. How do you go about choosing the right person? Because Bahamians, we made some very bad choices in the past. We now need solutions to problems. Everywhere I go, people are saying, what can we do? Because they want solutions to the problems at the constituency level and at the national level. All this talk has to stop. We have to find persons who can help us to take the country to the next level. First, we have to trust God. Now, that's the first thing, Bahamians. Let us make sure God is in our decisions. And of course, he'll tell you some specific things you need to do, what I need to do. And if we follow his clear-cut instructions and utilize the Constitution of this country, we will make progress as we go forward. Now, there will be some rebel rousers who will say all manner of things to distract you and get you confused. And people on the outside will say this and say that and attack people's character. We are not into that on this show. We do not attack people's character, even if we are aware of some negative things about them personally. That has nothing to do with the national issues of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Once you give them the authority, we look at whether they are performing the function of that office. For example, the Attorney General. We look and see whether the Attorney General is performing according to the Constitution, yes or no. You can come to that conclusion. The Prime Minister, the personality in that office, is that individual performing according to the Constitution, yes or no? The Minister of Immigration and Citizenship, is the minister performing according to the Constitution, yes or no? We're not going to get into people's qualifications, as some people will say, what school they went to, who were their teachers, all that sort of thing, how smart they are. That has nothing to do with the issue, Bahamians. Nothing to do with it at all. You have the position. You have the responsibility. You are a representative in the House of Assembly. Are you performing according to the Constitution your responsibilities as the representative of those people in that particular constituency where you live? And if they're going to follow Jesus, they're going to take every single burden of those people that are in that particular constituency and bring them to the House of Assembly, because all of us can't get into the House to speak. So we got to speak through that particular personality. That individual is responsible and hired by the constituents for the express responsibility of seeing to it that their problems are solved. You have crime in there. You have unemployment in there. You have bad housing in there. You got bad roads in there. You got poor lighting in there. These are hardcore issues that are affecting the people. Are you safe in your constituency? How well do you get on with your neighbors? Now, you should have good relations with your neighbors who live in the constituency with you. Your personal relationship with others is extremely important for the stability of your constituency, so that people can work together in order to solve problems and work through the representative of that particular constituency and get things done. And it is the duty of the government of the Bahamas to deal with issues at the national level. That means that is what your Constitution says. And since we are celebrating 52 years, I understand people are wearing their colors. I put on my colors today. And the thing is, Bahamians, you have to be serious. Yes, people will have their flags, they will have their food, they will have their drink, they'll be playing games. I heard some people talking about some games that I played when I was a child, because those things are a part of our culture. We don't see much of that around us. Batting the ball, porking. Those are things we had before all these computers and all these phones and everything like that came into existence. The communities were closer together. Children are sitting to the table and they are texting one another, not even communicating with one another verbally. What happened to their tongue? Have they lost the power of speech? We have to look at these things. You have children who are not respecting their parents. Now, some people seem to have a problem when mommy say, go and sit down, or daddy say, go and sit down. This conversation is not for you. The child is right there among the adults, involved in a conversation that perhaps the child will not even understand. And some people think it's cute to have them come in the midst without saying good morning, good afternoon, and show contempt to senior members who may be visiting the house, speaking to adults in that house, and they just butt in. I could never do that. You were sent to your room, you were sent to play in the yard while the adults got together and they spoke. And if they were to call you, you come. You don't say you come in when you want to come. You come when they tell you to come. And they'll give you what it is they want you to eat. My mother and father didn't ask me what I wanted to eat. They just put it there for you to eat. And that's the way it was. And I sure appreciated Mommy and Daddy as if they were still here today. I still feel their presence. They were a team that sheltered me and others that they had, a total of 12 children, 3 grandchildren and 9 of their own. So a lot of things that you are experiencing out there, I never experienced it. My mother and father were professional people. They came out of a background where there was a minority government in place, and that minority government needed both of them to survive. Do you understand that, Bahamians? So in that sense, we may have been a little privileged because we saw in the same community where we were living others who were not, I guess, as fortunate as my mother and father were. They had other jobs, and we saw how rank discrimination was being imposed on some of our people, right in your face. That is what it was in their day. So my mother and father came out from a time when there was rank discrimination against people of color. But like I said, the white minority government needed both of them. They couldn't do without them. So you got treated a little differently. And my grandfather, of course, on my father's side, he was very educated, very talented, very gifted, and they couldn't do without him either. And my mother's father, very educated, very talented, they couldn't do without him either. Now, what about those who didn't have that privilege to get that kind of education at a time when people of color were put out of school at the age of 14? We have to understand where we came from, Bahamians. Now, all of that has changed. You have all kind of qualifications with teachers and people going to high school, going to university, going to technical schools, and you have a whole lot of activity going on. But yet still, with the influx of knowledge available to our people, we seem to have an influx of problems. 52 years. And thank God we have survived 52 years. Some nations didn't even survive. They got overthrown. There was violence. You check the history of other nations when they became independent. They had a very stormy history. And they're still suffering from that today. Bahamians, you have to learn to understand. If you allow yourself to keep slipping further and further down the drain, it's going to come a time when you're going to hit rock bottom. And it's going to be very, very difficult and maybe impossible to recover from that. All you have to do is look at Haiti. Haiti got their independence in 1804. Look at the state of that nation today. Even the United States has decided they don't want anything to do with Haiti. No Haitians allowed to enter Haiti. Do you understand how serious that is? There may very well be some other Caribbean nations that may be cut off from entering the United States. The violence in Haiti is extremely heavy in Port-au-Prince, and it is spreading to the so-called protected areas or areas where there was not so much violence. It's spreading all over the place. I don't know of anything the government of the Bahamas is doing, because I understand Bahamas, they have 3 flights out of Haiti or going into Haiti every single week. Haitians now being allowed to enter this place as tourists. What are they coming here for? What do they bring? Reports are coming to me that they come with passports, Bahamian passports, and they don't return. So they are piling up in the Bahamas. And you still have some coming by boats, and there's no report from the government of the Bahamas as to how many are being captured by the Coast Guard and by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. We don't hear about any repatriations, but we know our neighbor to the north, the United States of America, is working hard to get rid of illegal aliens. They got millions in there, you know. The ICE people have to search diligently because you have some so-called sanctuary cities where you have the state government fighting against the federal government and city governments fighting against the federal government to protect criminals. We don't have that kind of system here. They have a republic. We have a constitutional monarchy, and some of you don't even understand what that means. And some of you believe, to your own detriment, because of misinformation, that this is the worst ever in terms of the system of government that we have. You just don't understand your Constitution. We are to govern according to the current Constitution. It has not been changed in 52 years. Also, there have been violations of that Constitution over that 52-year span. Very serious violations by those who were given the authority to run this place. They're the ones who are violating the Constitution. Enough of you need to wake up to that, you know. And a lot of you are crying out, you want to see change. It's the quality of the people you send to do your national business, your constituency business. Do you know them? Do you know whether they're homosexuals or lesbians or transvestites, whatever crap? They're lining up out there by so-called educated people, and they want you to believe that it's nice. They want to use the word love, which is really a perversion because it's not love. Love is, and God defines what it is. And they want you to just blend in. Everybody have love for one another. And you just blend in with the lives of the homosexuals and the lesbians and the transvestites and the drunkards and the deviant people, criminally minded people. See, God loves everybody. So you just blend into it. That's the kind of crap that they're putting on us now, Bahamians. And if you are not strong in biblically sound teaching, you're going to fall for it. They've been working at this for years, undercover. But now they're coming out in the open more and more and more as we ourselves have accepted fornication. You know, it's fashionable for young girls to have babies without being married. Do you know that? We've been doing that for decades now. We've not frowned on it. Boys and girls having sexual relationships at a younger age, and we are telling them to take condoms, and it's okay. And we have sexually transmitted diseases as a result of all of this mixing up with the flesh. And then no one is going to tell you who gave you the disease. That's the thing. When you get sick, you will find that you're by yourself. Where are your friends? Where are those who were visiting with you? Where were those who were eating and drinking with you? Where did they go? All of a sudden, they just disappear. And you're left there by yourself. Famous, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But if you live a lifestyle where you are mixing your body up with any Tom, Dick, Mary, Harry, Jane, Susie, or whoever else, you are asking for trouble. The best way to deal with that is to play it safe, beings. And so they'll tell you to come and get tested. And I've heard the comments on the radio. If you are abstaining from adultery and fornication, you don't have to get tested. Do you know that? That's the safest way to make sure that you don't get sick. There's no possibility of you getting sick. 100% safe. And you ain't got to worry about that particular personality or that other particular personality because you are not involved in fornication and adultery. Say God gives you safeguards and say, here is the way I want you to live. If you're married, you stay with your husband or your wife. But no, we don't want to do that. And so they snoop around and they think it's okay to live. No one sees them. That's what they think. But people always see them. There's nothing secret in the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Do you know that, Behemoth? People know your personal business, you know. As you may want to hide it, it will be discovered. And you'll be surprised to know who will know it first. How did your business get out there? Because someone who knows you know what you're doing. That's the weakness right there. And people talk on the telephone, they gossip, they discuss people's private affairs. It happens every day, Bahamians. So you have to be very careful. I have to be careful myself because there were some places I used to go. I don't go anymore. I just stopped. It doesn't mean I'm better than anybody. It's just that I have to take precautionary measures. People got all kinds of cameras, recordings. They carry on them. They snap your picture and say, you see him right there? That's him. But the AI crap that you have today, and they put that all together, and they fix up a story. It would look as if it is genuine, it is real, when it's a fake and a fraud. But that's the world you live in. So this modern technology is going to be used to destroy your very nature, your very character, Bahamian. So you have to be careful. I exercise the greatest degree of caution and restraint. And so that is the way to go, Bahamians, as you move forward. We have to live in a wicked world. A world where there is trouble, God didn't promise us a bed of roses. But we have to walk the straight and narrow road. And only a few will find that way. The vast majority of you are going to go the broad, popular road that leads where? To destruction, not life. And if you know that, Bahamians, you get off it. You see how many people are. I asked a young man, let me just say this while it's in my head. I asked a young man yesterday, I went to one of the clinics, and I said to him, I want you to get as young as I am. And then I asked him a question. What is wrong with these personalities in their 20s, mid 20s, early 20s, mid 30s, early 30s, and some even dying as teenagers? We had two women the other day were sitting on the porch, 10 o'clock in the night with one teenager. The two women were shot to death. One was shot to death right there at the place. The other one and the teenager in the hospital. So I asked him, I said, what is wrong with our young? He said he doesn't know. He's a young person just like them. I told him we are losing our young men in this country. Too many are already dead. Do you know that, Bahamians? That's why the females are outnumbering us. Because there is a streak of violence coupled with the fact that young men are getting sick. Now, why are they getting sick? Is it something they're eating? Is it some activity that they're involved in? And then all of a sudden you see they're not moving around like they should. But these are young, well, young people who are supposed to be in good health. Let me put it that way. Then you come to find out what happened to Harry, what happened to John, what happened to James. And then sometimes I'm shocked because I'm hearing of persons who are moving off the scene. And they didn't give me no advance notice, to say, Professor, I'm going today, or I'm planning to go next week. They don't tell you anything. I hear the music in the background. That means the man wants me to shut up. The lines are open, 326-0272, 813-0271. I'm not sure about the first number, 326-0271. I believe that might still be out of order. But we have 326-0272, 813-0271. Bahamians, we got to get serious about life, I want to hang on till the man come back. I don't know about you. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break. No problem with that. Because when I say it publicly, that's what it is. I don't back down from anything I say publicly on air. I make sure it is accurate and precise. I don't talk just to hear myself talk. Now, the person said I didn't answer yesterday as to what we can do if you have a problem with a government that's in place. And that government is not acting according to the Constitution. Do you know that that government is unconstitutional? In other words, when it acts contrary to the Constitution, it is no longer a valid government. You understand that? The authority to run the country rests in the Constitution. So elected personalities and appointed personalities are to do what? Follow the Constitution. If they are not following the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, they have no legal authority to demand anything of you. And I said you could defy them, you know. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to obey them. You know something? You get 200,000 people to defy a government that is not acting in accordance with the Constitution. What the heck they could do? Nothing. But you haven't done that yet. Not even to the tune of 50, 60,000 people. I said to you yesterday, I am constrained by Article 24.1. You thought I was joking, eh? That's serious business. It takes the collective will of a people to bring change at the constituency level, at the national level. You need numerical strength, Bahamians. Unless God decides to just wipe them out. Just like that. And it's a finished deal. Because he has done it before, you know. He'll do it again. We have constitutional authority to deal with a government that is not constitutionally sound. And you could take immediate action. Are you ready for that? I said we have to do some unusual constitutional action. Are you ready for that? I asked that question yesterday. Are you ready for that? Do you know what it takes, Bahamians, to be well organized so that everybody is not running around with like the head cut off? Where it's organized, soundly organized, so you can get results. God says, you reject him, I will reject you. Well, if the government does not want to go constitution, then you reject the government. It's just as simple as that. That's a constitutional answer, Bahamians. You reject that government, and that government cannot do anything to make you do anything, because all you do is defy them. You got 100,000 to defy the government of Bahamas. What the heck they could do? Nothing. They better run for their lives. That's as simple as that, Bahamians. Are you ready for that? I hope my Facebook people would understand what I'm saying today. Because they told me I didn't answer the question. I did answer it. And I'm answering it again. And some of you believe you have to wait until an election. The Constitution doesn't say that. When a government goes contrary to that Constitution, the government is not constitutionally sound. That is what you need to understand. And my mother always say, you don't want to hear, you will feel. We have to make the government feel. Are we ready to do that? I hope you're hearing me, Bahamians, because I'm dead serious about this. And some of you get government and party all mixed up. So we're not talking about the political parties. The Constitution says they could exist. So I'm not knocking any political party. But they do not have to have the government of the Bahamas. Do you understand that, Bahamians? You may be a follower of a particular political party. And that political party may put a candidate into the election. You do not have to support that candidate. You could say, no, sir, I'm not supporting that candidate. That is a wicked candidate. That is an unrighteous candidate. So why should you support them? Are you ready for that, Bahamians? So when you talk to me, you better talk sense. And do not believe that you could hide behind the wall, throw the rock, and duck down and say, who threw the rock? Bahamians, you can't be like that. When enough of you get to understand the power in your hand right now, you could stop the government. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, today, as I speak to you. That's why I say to you publicly, are you ready for serious constitutional action? Yes or no? Or you want to keep complaining? God said, you reject me, I will reject you. I'll turn my back on you. The government of the Bahamas turns its back on its citizens, then the people ought to turn their back on that government. Just as simple as that, Bahamians. And that's constitutional. I challenge anybody to tell me it isn't. When it comes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Bahamians, I don't play. I take no sides with anybody. If you're not constitutionally sound, you're not constitutionally sound. And it's the people of the country who can take the appropriate action that is essential to stop them. Are we ready for that? So those will be have Brother Hilo on the line. Okay, Brother Hilo, just hold on a minute. See, when I get going, these fellas won't tell me I didn't answer the question. I did answer the question. God says, you reject me, I will reject you. If the government of Bahamas rejects its responsibility and acts ultra-vires of the Constitution, then you reject that government. Just as simple as that. Right on the spot. You got to wait for no election. You just tell them, I'm defying you. You got 150,000 who are defying today. Instead of grumbling and complaining, you just make up your mind, I am not listening to you 1 second more. And there's not a thing they could do about it. Do you know that, Bahamians? You see, they know they could play with your mind. You got 150,000 like me. They would be out today. Not tomorrow, not next week. That's the kind of authority we have in our Constitution, because when a government goes outside of the constitutional authority that has been allowed to have, they're no longer a government. They have no authority whatsoever. Always remember that, Bahamians. The Constitution is supreme, not the government of the Bahamas. There's nothing supreme about them. They're just a bunch of people who have been given authority. You decide to give them authority, and they go outside their authority. Then you sit up and grumble and complain. You could stop them today, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, today. And today is what? July the 3rd. So what the heck are you talking about? Brother Hilo, welcome to Express Yourself on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM.
Hey, good day, Professor. Good day, producer, and good day, Bahamas. You know, Professor, I just wanted to confirm. You're saying that when the government is going against the people, you're telling them they're within their rights to go against whatever is against them.
They can defy.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just make this clear, so that no one will talk foolishness over Facebook. They can defy that government and say, I am not going to do anything you say, and you shut them right down. That's it. They better run for their lives if they want to stay alive.
All right.
You can defy them. The authority is right there in the document. Go ahead, Brother Hilo.
So, Professor, one example that stands out to me, it comes back to Foxhill again. Now,
Yes,
I hope the other constituencies of the Bahamas and not waiting until the problem comes to their constituency or
They
comes to
shouldn't.
their island.
Yes.
To be specific, it has been announced, just to be brief with it, it has been announced that properties will be taken away from families who living in their homes. Some of them had their homes 2, 3, 4 generations. And those homes are being taken away to say for another family of low income. So, Professor, that's an example of what you're talking about. You have to
Exactly.
defy something like that. You know,
You must defy the government of the Bahamas when that government steps out of line and act contrary to the Constitution. That's your right, Bahamians. That's your constitutional right. Because you see, they're not going to learn. You talk to them, you say this, you say that, and try to make them understand sense. No problem. My ma always tell me, if you don't want to listen, you will feel. We have to make the government of the Bahamas feel. Do you understand that, Bahamians? I don't want nobody writing any funny things on Facebook talking foolishness to me. Talk sense, people. If you don't know what you are saying, keep your friggin' mouth shut. That's what you need to do. Because I have made my position clear and I am not backing down for no one at no time. Because I know the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I know what rights they are. I know I am limited, constrained as an individual citizen because of Article 24.1. It takes the collective will of a people. There's so much an individual can do, Bahamians, but that individual has to go further. I believe we have a call on the line. Brother Hyler, just hold on, please. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, Mr. Hylam. Professor, I just wanted to share something with you. I got some very disturbing news last evening, and I honestly had to cry out to the Lord because I have no place else to go when I leave this country but into, I guess, into my grave. But when I heard that there is possibly an average of 400 illegal immigrants that are coming in here 3 times a week,
Yes, ma'am.
particularly women and children, not so many men, a lot of children and a lot of women. And the gentleman said, as very high up in immigration, he said there's less than 20% of them that are returning. So my question to him was, what is the benefit to the Bahamas that we're gaining from this? He said the same question was asked by them, and the answer was the airline is making money and we are putting money in the treasury from visas that they have to pay for prior to them coming. The airline hasn't made a profit from 73. I don't know what is the big issue now of them making a profit. And I don't think that we should be so focused on money to the point where eventually, if we keep it up at this rate, there'll be no more Bahamas. And I remember when I tuned in, you said something about there might be other countries in the Caribbean who would probably cut off from the United States. And I pray God that it's not the Bahamas, because you don't know which one of those flights that are going to come in here that is going to bring the wrong set of people into this country and cause it bad for Bahamians. If we are just sitting down and watching how much money Bahamas here make.
Carl, I appreciate your comments. You are right on target with what you're saying. We're going to try to see if we can get the fellow who runs Bahamas there on the show. We'll ask him.
Yes,
we have
sir.
other ways. We have other ways of getting the information if he doesn't cooperate. See,
Okay,
we're going to
Professor.
them. We're going to them because we have the numbers. We're going to them and ask them point blank, you know. And we will tell you the crap that they tell us. if they refuse to come on. We can't compel them to come on. But there are other ways to skin this friggin' cat. And so I agree with all the comments you just made, because we have very serious problems that I am saying to the Bahamian people. You don't even have to wait for no election. You can defy a government that goes contrary to the Constitution anytime, anywhere in this country. Do you know that? Because they are all... Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. Okay. Thank you very much. The lady made a good contribution. I appreciate that. That's what some people don't seem to understand. The government tell you drop into the cliff or drop in the ocean. You can just go right ahead and run straight into the ocean. Is that what you can do? Bahamians, it is time that you stand up to save your country, because you ain't gonna have none if you don't do nothing, you know. I need 150,000 just like me, who will defy a government that goes contrary to the Constitution, and there's not a damn thing they could do about it. They better run for their lives, but they might end up losing it. That's the kind of action we need to take, Bahamians. And just stop talking foolishness and nonsense. And I'm quite blunt and straightforward with what I say, because I know what the Constitution says. I know the Constitution is supreme. The government of the Bahamas, there's nothing supreme about them. I don't see that in the Constitution. You gave some people certain authority to act constitutionally on your behalf. They decide they don't want to do that. They want to go outside the bounds of the Constitution. I can't go outside the bounds of the Constitution. I have to stay within the bounds of the Constitution. So as a private citizen, as an individual citizen, there is only so much Professor Sidney, MacArthur, Walter Thompson can do. You see why I told you I need your support? And some of you around here talking foolishness and nonsense? You have to understand we are in very serious, dangerous trouble. Very deep trouble, Bahamians. You heard what the lady said. That's only a tip of the iceberg. There's only one other entity that's trying to get this message out to the people. So you've got to wake up, Bahamians, because we don't have much time.
That's right.
We're running out of time. Go ahead, Brother Hyler.
Professor, it is very important for the Bahamian people to understand new changes that are happening in America right now. The American government, as we know, has put Haiti on a list of persons that are not allowed to enter the country.
That's right.
They've now, last week, Friday, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security has announced that the temporary protective status for Haiti is being removed, and those who are in America will have to leave America. So the numbers, they're estimating over 500,000 will be deported from America. And under their rules, they deport persons to their point of origin, where they originated from when they came into America. Some would be holding Bahamian passports. We don't know how many. Many would have come from the Bahamas to go into America. We don't know how many. But the policy of the U.S. government is to repatriate foreigners to where they came from, whether that's their birth nation or they were living in the Bahamas and they came over to America from the Bahamas. We need to understand that policy of the U.S. government, which means a significant amount of those Haitians that will be deported could possibly be deported to the Bahamas. Now, that's the latest news as of last week, Friday. And it's the door's going to close. They're saying September the 2nd. They want everybody out. They want all of the Haitians under that protective status out of the country by August. And there's a 1 month window, Professor. So August the 2nd, September the 3rd. That's it. The curtains close.
Yeah, okay. It reminds me of Article 7.1 of our Constitution, where you have a 1 year window of opportunity to apply for status in the Bahamas. Non-resident, non-Bahamians, let me put it that way. Children who are born to non-Bahamians. Okay. That's just a reminder, you know, that my constitutional mind clicking in my head now. I have Brother Cartwright here.
Excellent, excellent. I was sitting in until he came in.
No, you could stay on the line. Don't go nowhere yet, man. You got Brother Cartwright here. You know, Brother Cartwright is listening. He don't make no noise. He just wait until I shut up. Then he comes.
Yeah, something like good day, Brother Cartwright.
Yes,
go ahead.
Good afternoon there, Brother Hyler, Professor and our great producer, J. Wiz, and the global audience, 99.5 worldwide, who's listening to Express Yourself. You know, Brother Hyler, you know, it's amazing. When you think about this TPS protection, I could never understand if someone tell me, listen, Cartwright, you need to go back home to the Bahamas to help fix up the Bahamas. And I'm afraid to go back home. The only way Haiti is going to have its changes and development is the Haitians who left, have money and been sending money home. They need to go home and help fix up. You can only make a difference if you're on the inside and on the ground. You can't make a difference if you're on the outside looking in. And I think they got to now understand. And I think what has happened to most of them is that they've been so used to now having this money. Looking to use this loopholes in our system that if you marry, you can get to that extension to stay. So when you think about it, we now got to look at some other ways to create and prevent people from coming in.
Brother Cartwright, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I believe my producer's telling me you have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor. You really so much on time. You got all the Nobel Prize in the Guinness Book. Let me tell you something with this immigration thing. This crap about bringing these people in here to put money in the treasury, that's a bunch of bull. You could never bring in people that much to generate money to put in the treasury. But look at what you lose, and you're getting a bunch of people. What are these people when they come? You make one set of money. They're going to hog up the jobs. They're going to populate. So that's a crap out. The real agenda is to bring these people in here and to make money for yourself. And I can't blame Mr. Trump. And if the Bahamas, we keep going at this rate, America going to show us what time of day it is. America trying to get rid of these people, and we flooding our country with it. What is it that we're trying to prove to the world, that we're stupid? We up against the wall, you know. I don't think the Bahamian people realize what is really happening. I don't think the politicians themselves realize what's happening.
Well, thank you for your contribution, because Bahamians, we have to wake up. Because all indications are that all the information available that I can put my hands on shows that we have very serious, grave problems. And you have people in authority who are not even checking for the severity of what we are going through. We have to do something about that. Brother Cartwright. Go ahead.
Yes, like I said earlier, Professor,
Yes.
we have not seriously looked at this matter because here's the thing. There was a time when Bahamians were went abroad and to the US and like under what we call a contract. We could do the same thing if we were serious. So we
Yes.
don't have to have this problem. So we could basically put a limit on how many people we want to come in and work. We could put a limit on when they finish. And this thing with Bahamas here, and I keep smiling because Bahamas is the only airline that goes into Haiti right now. Yes, they're gonna make money. Because when they was the other competition, Bahamas here wasn't making no money. So now here it is, they're making money because why? Their competitors stopped going into Haiti. So for me, that doesn't make no sense.
No sense whatsoever.
And this is a country that is in turmoil. So how can you look at it as being fine? So now if someone leaves, comes here, you don't even have a chance to find if they got an open ticket so you can just, if they violate, send them back. The ways you can curb and protect yourself, but the problem is that we have a lot of spineless parliamentarians. That's the right word there, spineless.
Brother Cartwright, I'm going to have to stop right here because the music is in the background telling me. And Brother Hyler, I want you to stay on the line, please. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. The lines are open 326-0272, 813-0271. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We'll be right back after the break.
and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. My special guest, Brother Cartwright, and also Brother Hyla. Two of them, Hyla is on the Zoom, I think it is, and Brother Cartwright is in the studio. But I'm delighted to have the two of them on today because they're making a tremendous contribution to the show. The lines are open 326-0272. 813-0271. Brother Cartwright, continue where you left off.
Yeah, because, I keep listening and I keep hearing people saying, well, Haiti is this way, Haiti is that way. And I said, but hold on. Is Haiti underpopulated? I don't think so. Is Haiti has a problem? Yes, it does. But those people in Haiti, if you look at it, the very rich of Haiti never leaves. Why? Let's think about it. My country is in turmoil. You think now if the Bahamas was in such heavy turmoil like Haiti, do you think people like Mr. Simonet and those who got money can stay in the Bahamas? So they can leave. So it tells me that those with that money somehow, and we've known that the Haitian government has made a lot of money off of remittance.
Yeah.
So if they can pay for persons to leave, because if the person is poor, we can find money to fly on a boat or catch a plane. Someone has to fund that operation. So it's a big operation for money making. And I hate to say it, but we are so gullible that we're just looking at numbers and money, but not realizing that you're making it worse for us, because if you notice what they say, most of the people coming in now are the women now. So now you got some men, now you got the women with their children.
Yes.
So what you think is going to happen? The women are not going to go back home without their children. Some coming pregnant, some ain't pregnant. So you giving status out. Then you got another problem. You got those who were born here having a hard time to get their stuff sorted out. And now they're looking at you bringing in fresh people, has no ties to the country, has no legal acumen at all. And furthermore, don't even speak English.
Yes.
So you now basically having this underbelly of basically a mini civil war amongst the Haitians who born here and those who now coming in.
Okay, Brother Cartwright, I indicate that we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. The caller is gone? Okay. Continue.
And so these are things that we as a country, as people have to take things in serious consideration.
Yes.
And when I listen to all of the political machineries, they all seem to be tap dancing around this issue of immigration. And like I was telling someone, I was starting to do some research, and I said, you know what? We can now be very, very strict, or we can be lax. If you look at countries like the Middle East, the Dubais and them, their immigration policy is very, very strict.
Yes.
They tell women, if you come to our country to work, that's all you're supposed to do in work. If you get pregnant, we shipping you back home. Yeah. You don't have you have some rights, which is basically, in those countries, the person who applied for your work permit holds all of your documents, and they make you work. Yeah. I said, we don't have to go that drastic, but we can say, you know what? That first year, you come in because we could be on a 5-year contract. That person who bring you in must show a place where you can live. Also, we don't want no more single men. We don't want no more single women. So that means if you're bringing in a gentleman, that means he has to be a married man with a family. And if he wants his family to come, then that's on his employer.
That's right.
That second year, you start to make him responsible. So, okay, you've got a Haitian passport, you've got a Jamaican passport, whatever country passport you have, you can use that to go to open up a bank account and do whatever you want to do with your money. Secondly, on that, you then turn around and you make them responsible by making them pay for that work permit.
Yes.
So you take that out of the hands of the employer and you make them responsible. So at the end of that 4 years, whatever money they made, you say to them, listen, this is the end of your contract. We don't renew contracts. You go home, we don't see you until another 5 years. Now, if others want to come, they can apply to our embassies, and your employer can contact the embassies. And so what we now doing is we are now limiting those who want to come into the country.
Exactly.
And then on the flip side, you say to the Haitian administration, listen, we can't tell you what to do in your country. But previously, you had citizens who were born here from Haiti who could at one time renounce, officially go back to Haiti and go to the Justice Department and renounce.
Yes.
Now, if you want us to now accept these people, I think you need to at least give us something in return. So we would like to see whereby that people who wants to be here can go back to their home country of previous and have an official letter and come back with it and say, okay, I've given up. And we can say, okay, yes, we see where it's a legitimate government document stating that you have renounced. Now we can now move forward and process you. Outside of that, if you can't help us, the only thing we can do, if they hold an Bahamian passport, bend that passport up, we're going to need documents proving mother, father, and even grandparents. And if none of them are Bahamians, then you must return back to the country of your origin.
Brother Hyler, you still there?
I'm here, Professor.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
Mr. Cartwright, I agree with you. And while we are waiting on that to happen, we've been saying on Express Yourself that every nation in the region is treating this matter as a crisis.
Yes.
Except the Bahamas. That's the one exception. Every other country in the region is treating the Haiti situation as a crisis. The Bahamas has no communication reflecting that this is a crisis. It has no updates from the Department of Immigration, news stories, press statements. We're not hearing anything from the Minister of Foreign Affairs concerning updates. What is going on? What is the plan of action right now? None of these things. And it is a total disrespect. It is very unpatriotic because the Minister of Foreign Affairs love to talk about patriotism. But he is exercising the height of being unpatriotic by what they are allowing to happen with our open borders. That's what it is. They wouldn't want to hear that, but we have an open border policy. Professor Cartwright, over 275,000 Haitians were deported from the Dominican Republic. That's their closest neighbor, sharing the same island of Hispaniola. 270,000 Haitians deported. Now, how many were deported from the Bahamas? Or are we doing the opposite by sending flights so we can bring that 275,000 this way? I'm not being disrespectful of the crisis in Haiti. What I am totally disappointed with in my government, and why I believe that both of the two major parties need to go, because they have the same attitude towards this matter. We have what was called an eminent persons group, which former Prime Minister Perry Christie, appointed by CARICOM, was assigned to address this matter, make determinations, go on the ground in Haiti, speak with the authority in Haiti. I'm not saying they didn't do any work. I'm saying, what reports did we get? What reports are we getting right now? We don't even hear anything on the news in terms of the major news outlets. What's happening on the ground in Haiti? When have we heard a news story with an update? For example, maybe the banning. I'll stop right there, Professor. But we're getting very, very light news over a very heavyweight crisis in Haiti.
Yes. And Brother Hyler, I want you to stay on the line, please, because I have a caller coming in. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yes. Let me tell you, I'm getting very confused about this whole conversation. Not this one in particular, but the whole conversation in the Bahamas right now. I think I don't know, but you got to correct me. Maybe I'm missing the point. But my understanding of this whole process is Americans want the Haitians out. Everybody knows, any fool could tell if the Haitians have a choice between.
Caller, you still there?
Yeah, he's still there, but he's dropping.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're dropping.
Yeah, everybody knows that Haitians are being expelled from America right now, and the Bahamas is the best bet. Everyone knows that this is bad for the Bahamas because we are a small country and we're in bad state right now. And here comes some more poor people. The lady earlier claims that immigration is saying this is to make money for the Bahamas. I can't see any sense in that.
No sense in
but
that.
I want to get us back to the point through all of this analyzation of this topic. Brave David just wants to give the Haitian people a vote through the Nationality Act so that he can remain in power, case closed. No more, no less. Thank you very much.
Brother Hyler, what do you say?
Boy, Professor, you put me on the hot seat where you be sitting all the time.
You're right. I can bring Brother Cartwright in after you finish.
Professor, many Bahamians feel the same way, that a voter bloc is being created because polls have shown that Bahamians are tired of not just the present administration, but both administrations. Bahamians are tired, and I believe they became very concerned. The Davis administration and perhaps the Pintard administration also, both are very silent on immigration. In the real world, the F&M administration under Pintard could run away with gaining public support just by not just voicing the concerns, bringing solutions. Tell us now what you will do. Don't tell us vote for you and then you can pull out the secret plans. Why don't you tell us now how you would address this situation? So that's what I think of the matter. I agree that it seems like with both parties losing favor with the Bahamian public, they are seeking another group of persons to get their support from, meanwhile really destroying the fabric of the Bahamian society.
That is very, very serious. I believe we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Professor Cartwright and Hyler.
Yeah, go ahead.
Number 7, yeah.
So,
Okay.
good day. Good day, Patriot.
I thought, Hyler, I called to answer your question. I'm doing the follow-up every week as we speak on Haiti. The conditions in Haiti have gotten worse. The Kenyan-led police force under-equipped, outmanned, as usual. They were the other 1,000 soldiers of police that were supposed to go from around the Caribbean and Kenya have not arrived. The United States has pulled back their financial support from that operation, and there are 2 Kenyan police officers that are now dead. There is one that has been captured by the Haitians, and there are, I think it's about 6 more that have died from the multinational force. So you got a total of 9 police officers that have died in Haiti. And that is the up-to-date update on Haiti. I'll hang up and listen to your response.
Okay, Brother Cartwright.
Why, Brother Cartwright, I hope you don't mind me jumping in, Brother Cartwright.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Patriot number 7 just gave us an update that gave us more information than all of our news media outlets in the Bahamas combined. I cried shame on ZNS. I don't want to call the names, Professor. I can get in trouble. I may get put out of class. Let me just say the major news outlets are obligated to the Bahamian people to report on what is going on in Haiti. I'll leave that right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Brother Cartwright, go ahead.
So, Brother Hyler, I always tell people, I tend to listen to the old, the young, all of those who are from Haiti. But when I look at immigration, I look at it as a whole thing because I don't want to leave no one who is not a Bahamian out of the out of my fray. So when I speak about immigration, yes, we do have a serious problem with the Haitians. But the other day I walked downtown, actually yesterday, and I was taken aback by how many businesses on our main thoroughfare, which is Bay Street, that is run, operated, mostly staffed by immigrants, not Bahamians, immigrants. And what makes it worse, even when they do hire a Bahamian, this thing I was telling someone the other day, we need to now outlaw this commission, work on commission status. If you want to come into the Bahamas and you want to open a business, you should now basically be hiring a Bahamian and you pay the minimum wage. If you cannot, then you can't have a business. If you look at our constitution, everything that we have, hospital, which comes under healthcare. You look at NIB, which comes under business, a pension plan. You look at our education, which is our schools. And then you look at jobs. All of these were designed for Bahamians only. So when you start to think about it, we should have never have this problem where we're in. We should have, at the minimum, a small percentage of migrants from wherever they go around the world working in the Bahamas, not to the point that they outnumber you in combined total. If you look at it right now, if you was to do a proper check, you would find that basically, better be one to admit it, we might look at the Haitians, but the Haitians might be the big number. But if you would combine every other nationality that is here, who's non-Bahamian, we already been outnumbered. Think about that. We've got Cubans here now, which we never used to have a lot of. We have Jamaicans here, which we used to have a little bit of because we had the police and stuff. Then when you look around, you now have the Indians. Now you have the Pakistanis, along with the Haitians. Now you're having some Nigerians.
Yes.
So
right.
now you're seeing, as I talk about this, you see how this grouping itself, immigrants, is expanding in number. And so when you think about it, we have not seriously addressed. And see, sometimes you can't worry about what the international world says to you, because here's the thing. When your citizenry is upset with you, the international world can't help you. When your citizenry
and they're not voting card right. They're not voting.
No. And not only that, but when you need finances, what they turn around and do? They tend to put more strings to put your country in debt, not to help. So I was looking at this picture and I've said to myself, oh, Haiti's been trying to upgrade itself for a long time with different leaders. And I always said, if the UN really cared about Haiti, they should have said to the CARICOM committee, said, okay, we want you to go into Haiti, take a look at what we can do to start a job process whereby that we can help these people, start this process of helping themselves. So my thing was this. Haiti never had proper roads in all of its places. Haiti has, in some parts of Haiti, has never seen electricity. And this is 2025. So if you was to start a work program where you could help them and then you pull out, let the Haitian people continue to develop their country, then you would see more of those Haitians abroad returning home. Instead of them staying outside the country, and then you have the poor leaving and being a burden on other countries. Because when you think about it, our healthcare system was designed only for us. So for me, if you're Haitian, Jamaican, Chinese, and you get sick, my brother, you got to pay for that. That was not designed for you. If you want to club, go to NIB. I am a proponent of basically giving you a different color card because you're not a citizen of the Bahamas. All of these things that we look at, education, you have to basically pay to go to our schools. Now, if you don't want to do that, then you leave your kids home because you come here to work. You ain't come here to take up residence.
That's right.
And even if you were granted residence, we should put policies in place that if you break any violation of our Constitution or any of our penal codes law, your status is revoked.
Yes.
See, you got to now take the bull by the horns and lay out your policy. And I agree with you, you know. We already know that the government of the Bahamas right now, the present administration, has not showed us a policy how to combat immigration. Right now, we have two groupings in opposition. And we have not heard from anyone basically laying out in those two groupings a clear plan of how they're going to tackle immigration. We hear little snippets here, little snippets there, but I want to hear a clear policy. I don't want you to tell me when you become government.
No.
Tell me your policy plan so I can see if
Right
I can
now.
trust you
Right.
to administrate my country and also carry out a strong, sound policy that whereby that the people of the Bahamas will benefit, not others. And so these are the things that I would like to hear from the two groupings in the opposition. Lay out your clear plan. Then the people will decide at the end of the day when it comes down to election, who they want to run the country. Because right now, the present administration, if you look at it, is in a distant third. So the battle is between the two opposition groupings. Now, who becomes the government? We don't know. But if none of them come up with a clear plan, they're going to allow this present administration to win by default, and which is to be detrimental to the country.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree.
But Hyder, just hold
That's
on.
all coming through. But what I wanted to add also is that Professor, but
Yeah, go.
in terms of helping Haiti also, right?
Yeah.
We haven't analyzed the problem from the inside, and I want the whole Bahamas to hear and understand this. Do you know that there are documentaries you can go and watch speaking to the gang leaders in Haiti that are causing all the problem? Let me be specific with this. Professor, I want you to repeat this, because this may be breaking news. The gang leaders said, we are not working for ourselves. We are being paid to do this to our people. So follow the money. Who is paying the gang leaders to burn the homes of their own fellow men? Displacing, the estimate is 1.2 million persons out of Port-au-Prince. 1.2 million people have been burned out of their homes. I don't even want to say what else they've been doing to the women as they go through these communities. These are Haitian men burning down cities and chasing the people out of their homes and villages. And it has been stated that they are being paid by certain forces to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hold on, Brother Hyla. I believe my producer's telling me we have a call on the line. Calling you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir. Hey, Papa, what's wrong with you? I can spank you.
Yes, sir. Thank God for life. Right, you're holding on, man.
Keep holding on, my brother.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hyla and Mr. Cartwright.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I listen in, Mr. Thompson, and
yes, sir.
I hear what you're saying, and I wanted to find out from Mr. Hyla or Mr. Cartwright or you, Mr. Thompson. I understand plane loads. I don't know if that's Bahamas or private jets or what. Plane loads of Haitians coming from Haiti here.
Yes.
Weekly.
Yes, we've been getting the reports.
Well, I trying to figure out. I understand Donald Trump. They say Haiti is one of those countries he stopped people from coming to America. But I was wondering if it's, anything is possible. But do you think they might be coming here to go to America, or you think they stay in here? You think these plane loads of Haitians would come in? I don't know if all of them have proper documents or what. That's another thing. But
yeah,
they stay in here or they go into America. Is it legal for like these states? What Donald Trump say? Well, no one coming from that country. Maybe to go to countries where persons still could leave from their country to go to America, like the Bahamas. And maybe you think that's what's going on, or they stay in here? I trying to figure out what the reason they.
Well, Papa, let me say this. Let me say this to you. I am 63 and I know I'm older than you.
Yes, sir.
And if they were just coming here to go to America, right? We would not have a immigration problem with Haitians. We would not have that problem because they would have been gone a long time. But if you look at it, in every community outside of probably Life Key, it might even be in Life Key, Haitians population has blown up
Yes, sir.
in the Bahamas.
That's right.
So if they were really going to the US or going to other countries, we should have had a small number of Haitians here. Like we have a small number of Jamaicans, small number of Barbadians, small number of Cubans.
Yes.
But if you notice, that particular grouping, their population in the Bahamas has exploded.
Yes.
So how long it can take you to come from Haiti, work 1, 2, 3 years, and then go to America? I always tell people that there was a story. I remember an old man said to me when I was about 16, and I asked him, I said, why you leave your country? He said, well, you know, things are bad. I come here for a better life. I'm going to America. Do you know that man is still here?
He's still here?
He's still here.
Yeah.
So what America is going to?
I try.
We become the America.
Okay, Mr. Cartwright, you hear what Mr. Hiley was saying just now. I listened to the news too. They saying that the gangsters get 90%. Well, they had 70%
Yes.
for years now. The capital Port-au-Prince curfew, right? I mean, I say curfew lockdown, and they are controlled. The gangs controlled.
Yeah.
Now the news saying that they get 90%. So I trying to figure out if our government could stop the flights from coming from Haiti to come here, or what we supposed to be doing now, because we ain't sure who these people is who coming.
Well, here's the thing. You saying something right there, you know.
Yes.
The government of the Bahamas has a duty to the Bahamian citizenry. If they was to say to the Bahamian citizenry, because of the situation in Haiti, and we cannot verify those who are coming into the country, we will now go on a 6 months temporary, no flights entering, no flights coming out. Only flights going into Haiti is what we carry to the port.
Yeah.
We're not bringing no one in. Because people don't realize Haiti has 3 airports. See, the airport in Port-au-Prince in the capital, that's under lock and key with the gangs. But here's the thing. Those other 2 airports, people are moving about that part of the country, just like ain't nothing happening. So
Cape Haiti and the rest of them.
So when you think about it, how so these people can move around and don't worry about what's happening in the capital? That is a long life of what we call unregulated process in the capital. So it tells you that the people who live outside of the capital been living their own lives.
Yes.
And so now you got those who now living in the capital, leaving the capital to go into the countryside to catch flights, to leave, to come out the country, and then send money back. We cannot be the caretaker for a country where the people themselves don't want to take care of their own country.
So you think the gangs coming here too? The gangs coming here to the Bahamas and staying in the Bahamas?
Well, I always tell people this. If you don't know from the average person, how are you going to know from someone from criminal background?
You don't know.
You don't know.
Gentlemen, we have to come to a break now because.
Yeah, so Mr. Thompson, what's up with the case? You all are saying like in June you're supposed to get an answer.
Caller, you're gonna have to hold on. I have to go to break. If you want to hold on, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll give it an answer.
Go to a break. I'm going to let Brother Cartwright answer it. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. We're going to break now. The lines are open 326-0272, 813-0271. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Hey, Shoe Depot has what you and your wallet need. They are stuffed with stylish and
809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
We are back. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We're back. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. I hope Brother Hyler is still on the line, because Brother Hyler, we're going to get to you soon. Brother Cartwright is going to address that question that was asked by Popper before we went to the break. I did tell him he could hold on if he wanted to. But Brother Cartwright, go ahead, please.
Yes, okay. Here is the thing with the situation with the case at the Supreme Court. As everyone knows, the Supreme Court docket is there where the case was filed. The situation is whereby now that the government of the Bahamas has not laid their complaints at the Supreme Court. So the only way our case moves forward is for the government to now lay out their argument, which will give us an opportunity to counter their argument. And basically, from what I'm seeing with the government, with their argument was that they are basically tying their wagon to the Nationality Act, but they would not bring it to court, because we've already had many examples whereby that the Nationality Act has been thrown aside and has been proven to be null and void.
Yes.
Because the Nationality Act, in reality, is, yes, it was passed, which people don't understand. It was legally passed under the 1969 Constitution, which at that time, when it comes to citizenship, only the British Parliament had that authority, not the Bahamas local government. When we went into independence, we were then was given that opportunity to create a law that would basically substantiate the powers of the Nationality Act. But when you look at the Constitution, the articles dealing with citizenship slap the Nationality Act backwards.
Yes.
So it said, look, I'm tying myself to you, I'm tying yourself, you're tying to me. So whatever happened was none of the governments since the Sir Lyndon's era, even from Sir Lyndon, they did not clearly define. They just let the law sit, and then they came back in August of that year, 73, and laid out the regulation, because it was just a blank bill. And so they laid a regulation to say, well, this is how it's going to operate. But then when you compare the two, you would see basically everything in the Nationality Act, it is wiped out by everything in the Constitution. So for us to go to force the government to respond, that is not the position of the patriot. It is up to the government now to present their case, and then we'll be allowed to rebuttal. But my thing is, and I've been telling some of my other friends, I said, you got to take this thing seriously. No government know if they're wrong. We've already seen it. We've seen when government's been proven wrong. They now hesitate, because we've heard from the Attorney General, he's trying to avoid coming to a referendum. So he's like you, so he's dancing around. So we said, Mr. Attorney General, if you believe the Nationality Act is law, which it was, then how does it override the supreme law? And how does it line up? Present your case, and then we would answer you. And on top of that, we've had many lawyers who did not buy into our understanding of the law, of the Constitution. And now we're seeing where many of them are now, and to the fact that many of the lawyers in this country, and I hate to tell people this, but many of our lawyers in our country are criminal lawyers, commercial lawyers, and property tax lawyers.
Yes.
But we don't have that many constitutional lawyers. And so when you look at it, one of the few constitutional lawyers we have is the gentleman who's now in charge of immigration. But I always tell people that department, if you are not a strong person, you will die in that post. And so right now, it is the government. We just want the government to present their case, because we've checked and see there's nothing been filed by the Bahamas government. Okay,
but I can't write. I have my point on that too. I believe we have a call on the line. Calling you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Mr. Thompson.
Hey, what you say?
Everything cool. I was still right there. You tell me to hold.
Yeah, I did tell you to hold.
Yeah. So
did you hear the explanation? from Brother Cartwright?
I hear what you and Mr. Cartwright say, right? So
Yes.
I was sound like the government knowing, sound like they would drag it out if it leave up to them. It should be some kind of process, or the court should be able to force them to be ready and get their act together and come with whatsoever that is they trying to defend.
If the government of the Bahamas believes in the Nationality Act, put your friggin' argument forward.
That's right.
That's what we are saying to them now.
Yes.
That's what I try.
If you think his man, come.
Yes.
And Popo, this
Yes,
issue
sir.
with us, right?
Yes, sir.
It is not about any particular administration, because
No, it isn't.
we're taking going back from Sir Lyndon to whoever becomes
Whoever
the
comes,
next
next
government after
yeah.
the general election.
Yes.
So whoever sits in that chair, we can still be here to push that issue on them. So I'm saying to all,
God willing.
come, present your case. Whoever's going to be the AG, you come, present your case. We ain't going over here. It's like they tell you, like Bahamas here, we just don't fly there. We live here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So tell me something. Is
Yes.
it any truth that about 300,000 work permits is out there in this country?
Well, according to the Minister of Immigration, they had over 300,000 applications, but he never broke down what was those 300,000 applications were, and they were supposed to be digitized.
Yes.
And so they still haven't gotten around to it as yet. So we don't know what percentage is work permits, which percentage is residents.
Man, that's too much work permit for
Yeah,
people.
and we don't know what percentage is those who now becoming applying for citizenship. So what they did was they threw the whole number, total number. So now you have to figure which is which. So
Why we need all them work permits and young people coming to school? We have so much professionals coming from abroad, coming back home from school.
But again, what I'm
and we
saying,
gotta
not
do that.
all of those applications are work permits. Some are for permanent residents, some are for work permits, some are for
It's like
citizenship.
they're selling out the country, man.
And so basically that whole process is convoluted because they never broke it down. They just threw the number and I was like, why?
Why?
Tell me what this number, break down the numbers.
Break down the numbers.
So the average person can understand, and then you can say, then them to do, look here, we don't need that amount of people here. We don't need
Mr.
this.
Thompson, I mean, Mr. Cartwright, I
Yeah.
don't know if you could be interested in this, but I will leave something with Mr. Thompson, and maybe Mr. Hyler might have done been checking up on it, because he normally just bring a lot of information and update us. I wonder what's going on with that land thing. What he talked about the other day, he must be in the Foxhill area. If he do any investigate, if they was able to go and find out anything else, because he's saying the people didn't know the government was saying either for sale or they. And I was wondering if the government was doing it for the people. That was the question. I wonder if Mr. Hyler to find anything else. But Mr. Thompson, what I hear now in the news, right? I only could break it down the best way I could. And maybe if you get to listen to the news, you could hear it more professional and more better. Those people who's be coming over here on their, how do you say it? Those yachts and the fishing. Not fishing boat, but they do be fishing and doing stuff. They come all at the different islands, like Zoma and different places. It sounds like the government passed one law or considering one law where they carrying the how you say the cost or the freight or no the fee.
Yeah.
The license to be able for them to come over here and do these things. I believe it was a part where they were talking about the locals too, the fishermen and the size of their boat and different things. But this particular part would get my interest is that those foreigners is like they was not, I wouldn't want to say making noise, but crying or saying that, reminding us how I don't know if it was the foreigners saying it or some association here in the Bahamas was saying that we must remember that the maids and the what do you call it, those persons when you take
that bill was, I think,
the bartenders and the waitress and everything, like they depend on these things for these people to come here on their boat and stop and go and get some crack conch and everything. And I say to myself, you know what I believe, man? I might be wrong with what I'm saying, right? Because I know when we want to go to Walmart or wherever in this world, America or wherever, whatever they rules is or what they say the cost is, We just make up our mind, save our money or whatever, and make a decision and bite the bullet and take a vacation or do whatever and do it. If we really want to go there, there's something there what we want to. The Bahamas is the Bahamas. I mean, and we get blue seas, different places too.
Yeah.
But everywhere is special in their own way. I say to them people them who come in here and spending money with us and stuff like that, we appreciate it. But listen, your man, if they say $2,500 for your boat or whatsoever the deal is, I think you should pay it if you want to come here. We appreciate all the people coming here and spending their money and stuff like that. But we have rules, we have taxes, we getting taxed the pieces ourselves. The Bahamas is a special place. It ain't no cheap place.
No.
It's expensive even for the locals and the natives.
But
so I think that
I like to say this to you, though, Papa. What has happened in our country for years, right?
Can I hang up and listen back?
Yeah, thank you for your contribution. Thank you, brother.
You know, I would always say this to you, brother Papa. All of our administration of past, and even if you talk to some of the ones who now in position to probably replace this administration, nobody seems to think outside the box when it comes to the Bahamas, when it comes to growth, development, and everything.
That is true.
We still running around, though, trying to do the same thing. We're trying to reinvent the same wheel.
Yes.
And, you know, I remember sitting down with a couple of members of the government, cabinet ministers, and I said to them, have you all ever thought about us being a major player in the container port business?
Yes.
And they said, yeah. I said, do you realize that we are the gateway to the Americas and the Caribbean? We could be a port hub whereby that we could now build our partner with someone and build a big container port for whereby that goods coming from Africa and Europe would now drop here in the Bahamas, and goods coming from America and the other parts of the Caribbean comes here. And basically, once you drop your goods from Jamaica and those other places at that particular hub, and that boat now picks it up and carries it back to the country. So now instead of having to take a long journey all the way across the Atlantic, he only comes to the Bahamas, pull up docks, drop his load, pick up his goods, and goes back. So it's a win-win for all of us.
Okay. Well, Cartwright, that's an excellent idea. I believe we have a call on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor. What is happening? The Bahamas and the Bahamian people, we're on a deep coma with this immigration thing. The long-term reign is to flood this place with immigrants and displace us. Like Chicky said, he understands that the gangs are being paid to do what they do. Let me say this. The Bahamas never had its foot in Haiti. The French governed there. How come is with all this drama and commotion, France is not going down there to stop? The U.S. government donated billions of dollars to the Haitian people. They never got it. And they used to sell the food, and with all this, the Bahamas is not responsible for the chaos or to solve the chaos that is going on in Haiti. It's all a trick to flood the Bahamas with these people. And if they were on their way to the United States, don't you think by now? So we got to hold our position. We cannot keep flooding this island with this. 7 years ago, a white man said that the Bahamas has the solution to Haiti problems. So the trick is to infiltrate the Bahamas, displace us, and then who really won this island would take it. So we've been duped, and until we realize that, how much money could we generate by flooding this place with the immigrants? Are they bringing jobs? Are they bringing things to uplift the Bahamas? So it's all a well-executed trick, and we seem to be clueless and blind as to what the big picture is. We're blind.
Thank you for your contribution. Let's bring Brother Hyler back in. Brother Hyler, you still there? Is Brother Hyler there? I'm not hearing Brother. I didn't hear you. Oh, Brother Hyler, unmute your mic, please. Brother Cartwright. Let's
yes, because, you know, when you think about it, let's remember this now. We have a population roughly of 400,000. Means that for 52 years, we had a low growth in population. We have not been, our population hasn't increased for the amount of years that we've been in existence as a country. Most countries that are 50 or more years old has a population of almost close to 1 million people. We have basically, in a way, have grown at a rate of almost 0.1%. So it tells you that when you add up the numbers, the Bahamian population, as it is, isn't growing as fast as those who they allow to come in.
That is true.
And so if you do not put a curb and a handcuff on that problem right now, you're going to have a point where you'll find that all migrants in this country are going to unite and displace the organic or the Bahamian as we know it.
As we know it, yeah. I think we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead.
How you doing, Professor? How you doing, Tricky? How you doing, Mr.
All right, I'm good.
Tricky, this is your boy, Kansas City from Charleston Street.
Yeah.
This is what I find so interesting. When they go into build a new hospital, the Chinese government have a one China policy. They're going to bring only their persons to build the hospital. Bahamians are still not going to get any jobs building this hospital. That's going to be another problem because they're going to bring a bunch of Chinese to build that hospital. That's just the facts.
Yep.
Now, and I live in Angleston. Tricky, you normally visit the village pub and we talk football.
Yeah.
Angleston has been taken over. Totally taken over. And the minister has no clue on what to do in Angleston. That's a fact.
It's sad.
Caller, let me ask you this question. What about the representative?
I guess that is the minister.
Oh, okay. All right.
Minister of Education.
All right. Okay.
She is clueless to the fact. She recognizes it, but it seems like we can't do nothing about it. They trying up shops any kind. You see the kind of building they trying just to sell breakfast out should be outlawed.
Yes.
Can't even stand underneath the Health Act to open up a business. I have a question for you because it's something I find something so interesting. What is the actual VAT on any items? Is VAT being reduced from 10% to 5%?
Not on all items.
Not on all. No, just a few.
Just a few.
So you get you're paying 5% on some items and 10% on some items.
Yes, and so in essence, you're actually paying 15%.
15%. That's what I'm going to show you just now. How is that possible?
You know,
in a government society, how is that possible?
Well, I always tell people that if you listen to the parliamentarians, especially in the administration, I don't know what school they went to learn maths, but their maths always been off for me for many of years because when you do the addition, and I was like, well, they said, yeah, that's 10% on that. And
the guy on our economic man doesn't know HCF from LCM. There's a higher common factor and there's the lowest common multiple in any math.
Yeah, and that's what kills me when I sit down and see these fellas.
But I have to bring it to you on this level, The Chinese ambassador said something very interesting, and someone needs to listen to what she said. China has a one government policy where when they deal with you, you can't deal with nobody else.
Yes, I noticed that.
She said they have friends, they dealing with everybody else. How come they could have the chance to deal with everybody else, but when they deal with you, you can't deal with nobody else?
Well, I've seen that with the Chinese, and I've been telling people that right now, right in Angleston, there is right on the corner of Miami Street, and not Miami Street, Lincoln Boulevard and Balfour, what used to be a dry goods store. And I passed that the other day, and I see that's now become a Chinese liquor store.
I mean, that strictly, they let the Philippines take over on the school and open up a bar right across the road from a preschool.
Yeah.
Right across the road from preschool. How could the government give somebody a license to build a building right under the high-powered line?
Yes, and it's in the school zone.
They got the building right, the roof right.
I see that.
2 inches from the high-power line.
I see that. That's why.
Never happened.
And I keep asking people, how do these things pass? Where are these people or the Ministry of Works who's supposed to go and regulate these things?
But tricky is the only trick they doing too. They putting down the number for the building. You have to put up your number to say you're billing.
Yeah.
They got the numbers them right on these boards and they billing. And one coming around to say, well, you didn't get this permit number from the government to build. They writing the numbers and they doing everything else in English. You see when the property grab start in Foxhill, that started in Angleston.
Yes.
I wake up to the 15 properties that they was doing them in the man say watch out for property grab. They started cleaning up in Angleston when the brave they was spent in Montelites. Never gone in Montelites in all his life. When in Montelites to the property that we clean up 20 properties, and these are 20 properties they want to build these low cost in homes on.
Wow.
Caller, I'm gonna have to cut you because we're running out of time. But thank you very much.
But I can look into that, Casey. You ain't got to worry.
Thank you very much for your contribution. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson. We've had a very interesting show. I don't know if Brother Hyler came back.
Yes, I will report next week, God's Spare Life, Professor, on what is going on in Fox Hill.
I'm not hearing him. I got to move on. Tomorrow, of course, is Friday. It's Open Line Friday. I would expect Brother Cartwright, you should be here tomorrow, right? Okay. And Brother Hyler should be here tomorrow. We'll continue this conversation tomorrow, what we started today about Haiti and other issues. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon. Bahamians, please pray for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. This is very important. We need God's divine intervention. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.